Why is writing about trauma so hard? That's the topic of today's video. Now, obviously, writing about trauma is hard because talking about trauma is hard, thinking about trauma is hard, but there are reasons beyond the obvious for why writing about trauma is so hard. Writers who have a calling to write about trauma have usually gone through a personal healing journey. Whatever it was that was so traumatic in their past has pushed them to transform. That transformation was fueled by trauma. Now, sometimes this is a good thing. Most of the time it's a good thing when we reach the other side of healing from that trauma. Because when we go through a transformation like this, we're pushed to release old issues, old ideas about our identity, old limiting belief systems. In fact, it can feel like we are reborn as an entirely new person when we come out on the other side of this transformation. However, the healing journey is never over. So it's not such a simple matter of, I experienced trauma in my past, or I experienced trauma when I was young. I went through a healing journey. I really did a lot of inner work, and now I'm good. I never have to think about that again. It's all over. It's not really like that, but you do get to a place when you are farther along on the healing journey where you realize that the experiences you've had with trauma can be very helpful to other people. You have done so much of your inner work and you have healed so many of your own inner wounds that you're starting to look around at the world and look around at other people who have gone through similar situations, and you're saying, oh, I wish I had known this, or I wish I had known that at the beginning of my journey. And you're starting to realize how much knowledge you have and how much experience you have with your own trauma and how that can help others. Now, if you're an artistic person or a highly sensitive person, an INFJ or an INFP, someone who really feels called to be of service in the world, really wants to help the planet, help other people, which many sensitive, intuitive types are, this is usually when you feel the call to write about your trauma, when you have that realization, oh, my knowledge and the experience I have now could really be of help to other people. How do I get that information into the hands of other people? I could write a book. A lot of us are called to be writers anyway. We have a talent for writing. We've always been pulled in that direction. Maybe even when we were in the middle of the trauma, we used writing as a way to get through it. So the writing gift comes naturally. The pull towards writing comes naturally. And then when we have this realization, oh, my knowledge and experience with trauma, that could be really helpful to other people, I could write a book about it. This takes form in many different ways for different people. Some people really feel called to write a memoir. They don't even have to think about it. They're like, I'm going to write my story. I need to write my story. Writing my story is actually the final piece of my healing journey. I need to speak my truth in that way, and I need to share it with the world. Others maybe play around with the idea of writing a memoir, but then they say, that doesn't really feel right, or I don't really want to feel exposed to that extent. I think I am going to write a fictional novel. That feels better to me. I'm going to write an autobiographical fiction sort of book that's based on me, the character's based on me, the storyline is based on my traumatic experience, but it's not me, it's fiction. Others are not sure what they want to write at all. They don't even know if they want to write a book. They might want to write a blog or a series of articles or a collection of poetry. They just know that they feel called towards writing and they want to help other people. They want to share the experiences and the knowledge that they've gained along the way on their healing journey. So if you have this, if you know you want to help people who've gone through the same kind of trauma you have, and you feel called to write a book, what happens next is fear. You hit this big wall of fear, most people do. All of the doubts start coming in, all of the little voices. One of my blogger friends calls them the brain weasels, right? Like all of the brain weasels start showing up, right? It's such a big task. There's so many ways to go about it. Am I going to write a book? Am I not going to write a book? Who am I to write this? Who will even want to buy it or read it? What will people think? So we feel this call, but we also feel like this is such a hard thing to write about, and then all of this doubt has come in and we're questioning if we have the skills to do it. And because we are writing about trauma, a lot of times there's a very big part of us that is saying, will people be freaked out by my experience? If I really share the full truth of what happened to me or what I went through, is that going to freak people out? Are they going to judge me for it? Are they going to reject that? Are they not going to like that? Are my friends and family going to have a big reaction to that? Maybe a negative reaction. Maybe they won't think I'm telling the truth. That's on the extreme end of the negative side of the spectrum. Or maybe they'll have a positive reaction and they'll support me, but I'll still feel exposed. I'll still feel weird because I'm writing about this stuff they didn't know about. Maybe there's some family secrets in there. So this is all a very complicated area for writers to get into. That's the really big reason why writing about trauma is so hard. It's not just writing about the trauma itself, which is hard. It's also all of these other doubts and questions that come in of like, how am I going to do this? Am I going to be judged? Is this going to freak people out, right? So it's that self-doubt piece that really can stop us in our tracks. We need support and guidance. If you've had a traumatic experience in your life, or if you've lived through trauma, if you've gone through a healing journey, or you're still on your way through a healing journey, and you have had the deep intuition or the strong realization, hey, what I went through, I now have information that could help other people. I wish someone had written a book or written a series of articles or written something, some sort of resource that I could have accessed when I was in the middle of all this. It really would have helped me, and I want to do that for other people. If you've had that realization, then yes, that calling towards writing, that's true and that's real, and that's something that you should pay attention to. That's something you should listen to and take very seriously. It's not a passing whim. It's part of your work here on planet Earth, and as such, it really should be taken seriously. It's going to be the easiest to do this if you get support and guidance, if you don't try to go it alone, which I see so many writers trying to do. I'm just going to shut myself up in this little room. I'm going to write these memories all on my own. I'm going to attempt to stitch them together into a book, and I'll just fight off the self-doubt the best I can. Sometimes that works, but it can be very helpful to get support and guidance along the way. That's why I'm teaching a new class. It's called Write to Heal, and we're going to be covering all of this. We're going to be covering writing about trauma. What is that like, and what to expect, and how to get past the obstacles that crop up all along the way. We're going to talk about writing fiction to heal, right? So if that's where you're like, I want to write the novel, I want to write the autobiographical fictional novel based on my experiences, it's not me, but it's based on me, that feels good to me, we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about writing memoir to heal, right? For so those people who are like, this needs to be my story, and I need to put it out in the world as my story. I need people to know that this is me and I wrote this. We're also going to be talking about if you want to do all this, but you don't want the I wrote this part, right? So if you want to use a pen name, like what does that look like to keep yourself anonymous, be an anonymous blogger, be an anonymous author? That's also an option. These are all the sorts of things we're going to be talking about in this new class, Write to Heal. I'm going to be releasing 2 more videos in this series to give you a taste of what the class is all about. So please subscribe to my newsletter. I send out all sorts of good stuff on intuition, creativity, writing, all of that. But to get notifications on when the class opens, the class will open in just about a week. It's 3 classes. It's very simple. The classes are live. You can show up and participate live, but they're also going to be recorded. You'll get lifetime access to those recordings. So please subscribe to my newsletter, and then you'll get all of the notifications on when doors open, how many days are left to register, and when doors are closing. Please also subscribe to the channel. If this video was helpful to you in any way as well, please like, share, subscribe. All of that stuff really, really helps, and I so appreciate it. If you have any questions about the upcoming class, you can contact me, Lauren@laurensapala.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you next time.